Right now, it's hard to be black and in America. Granted, this is coming from someone who is multiracial, so I can only imagine what it's like for someone who's dark skinned. And whatever, there's going to be people who are like, all you talk about is race, but there's a large segment of people who need this today, man. They're hurting. Of course, recently, there's more and more stories of people dressed in blackface, and there was another one that popped up today. There's this young girl and I think like 5 or 6 dudes, all of them dressed as convicts in blackface. And shit was offensive. And what hurts about this is that this young lady believed that what she did wasn't offensive because she felt she was accurately portraying those who are in prison. Now, obviously, the reality of the situation is painful because she's right and the truth hurts, but at the same time, no one's educated her as to why there are so many. But apparently in 2015, it's okay to dress up as a black person, but it's not okay to actually be a black person. And I say that based on the stories that we continually see in the news, just like the one of the young girl at Spring Valley High of black people against police. Same old story of police officers killing unarmed black men and women or brutalizing them or using an excessive force. We see it all the time. Then you break up the monotony of that story by talking about how someone in an urban area known as the Hood has shot and killed somebody else. Blacks are killing blacks. Police are killing black people. The imagery is that black people are killed. And honestly, that's only one side of the coin, but if you look at one side, I mean, is it really that bad of an image considering of, what we're depicted as on TV? Love shows like Empire that depict, black men as well-dressed, successful, but bipolar and dating white women. Maybe the black women as being sassy or ratchet, materialistic, or those types of things. Or maybe as homosexual, who actually are the only ones that seem to be level-headed in the entire show. Maybe the violent, crook, intelligent, well-dressed pimp player character that's a part of the show. The young, fly, flashy, misogynistic, materialistic kid who fucked his dad's ex-wife. Maybe you want that person. These are the main characters. Now this is how we are. We are all Lucius Lyon or we are all Cookie because this is the image that is, portrayed on television. Sadly, that's the positive look because if you'd like to just go to the underbelly of black people, you don't got to go far. You just got to go to the internet and check out World Star Hip Hop. That's the thing that confuses me. Like, as much as you've got the bad, you have somewhat of the cool, which is still kind of bad. Like, black culture is extracted. Like, we get left with all the bad shit, whereas the good stuff somehow gets appropriated and then it turns into profit. Like, I'm not allowed to get mad at those 2 high school seniors who put "nigga, we made it" on the backs of their shirts because we both listened to Drake and it was creative. Like, the fuck? 2015, that's kind of what it feels like. Like, as long as it's creative and it's not intended to be offensive, we can't be offended by it. And the game has changed so much now that if you actually blow the whistle, you are now the racist one for pointing this shit out. Like, what part of the game is that? That'd be like if I was a referee and I called a foul on somebody and they were like, nah, that's no foul. You fouled him actually because you're a hacker. That's why you know what a foul is. Now, obviously, that doesn't make any sense, but it only makes sense when you realize that that makes sense to a person who really doesn't want to talk about the topic at hand. But I mean, is it really their fault when no one's taking the time to teach them this shit because this isn't something that's actually taught in schools? Got some girl on Instagram posting a photo of her and her friend out picking cotton talking about "my inner nigger came out." Like, the fuck is that about? If a black person posted that, I would be offended. That shit's not funny. You should know better. But a white person, you really should know better. The fact that you don't know is concerning, and I'm trying to understand why you don't know that that's offensive to people. No one likes to be disrespected, so I don't understand why we have to put up with the disrespect like, no, y'all are wrong. That's actually not offensive. You're wrong. We have to watch people that look like us and sound like us get killed by police on TV and nothing happens about it. We have to sit and watch. Some chick out there right now trying to get her PhD while all these bitches want to be Instagram models and cookie lying because they see it on TV all day. Some young black man out there right now, a year away from getting his degree, but he wants to become a rapper because that's who he sees with all the money, cars, and girls. And what's sad is that the parents aren't there to stop this shit. We perpetuate a lot of these stereotypes because we're not teaching them the shit's wrong. These young men out here running these streets, pants sagging, they don't even understand where that comes from. If they knew, I bet you they wouldn't be sagging their pants. Young black girls in these terrible relationships because they've never seen a healthy one because mama just going from man to man all the time. But it's cool. Don't even trip. Your 14-year-old daughter doesn't even want to go to college. She wants her own reality show because she sees the Kardashians killing it. 16-year-old son, college, nah, he's good. He's just going to get him a bad one being a rapper like on Love and Hip Hop. He's just going to go that route. Nigga, if you're not playing sports, if you're not an entertainer, you're not going to make it out. That's all we see on television. You are just so fortunate to pick one of those occupations. I pray to God you never run into a police officer because if you do, you might get killed. When you come in contact with that police officer, please comply because if you don't and you get killed, he will not go to jail. He'll just get a pension. Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, one of them niggas is going to come to your funeral. There'll be a hashtag and then we'll forget about you when the next one gets killed. Because, yeah, we can make a difference, but how much of a difference can we really make when we blow the whistle and we're told, nah, that's a wrong call? Or when you're like, I wasn't even trying to be offensive, and we're like, okay, well, let me explain to you why, and it's like, nah, I don't want to talk about that. So when can we talk? When can we talk about this? Because at some point it's going to hit a head, and we're going to have to talk about this. We can't pretend like America wasn't founded on death and thievery. That's the reality of this shit. This country was built on the backs of slaves, whether they be Native American, African American, Latin American, Asian American. We haven't gotten so much as a my bad to any of this shit. And let me tell you why that's particularly frustrating. You see, because I get it. You weren't a slave owner, so why should you be blamed for slavery? Okay, I get that. But why is it that when a black person stands up for themselves, they now get grouped with all other black people? Because when you really break it down, the only difference between Lucius Lyon and a dude from the streets when it comes to depicting a black man is a high-priced suit. So if the image I'm seeing on television is that no matter what I'm wearing, whether it be a hoodie or a suit, I'm still going to get treated like a nigga, what am I going to do? If these are the same images that white people are seeing about us, I know that they're going to look at me in that way. Now it's on them to believe that this shit isn't real, but if they do believe that it's real, who am I really to judge about this shit? But if you get called out on something and someone wants to educate you on why it's offensive and you don't want to listen, it's your fault that you're being offensive. And we can run from our history as long as we want, and we can try to hide from it as long as we can, but the shit is about to hit the fan. The middle class is dwindling, and more people are becoming poor. And what happens when people become poor? They start getting hungry and start hunting. Crime goes up and more people get incarcerated. And at this point, how much more do people really have to lose? We're tired of being your Lucius Lyons on television, but being your Trayvon Martins in the neighborhood. It's all fun and games when there's a new dance we come up with, but when one of us gets killed, it's like, I got nothing to say. Black people are starting to wisen up, and we're starting to understand how powerful we are to this economy. More and more of us are becoming educated on how much of an impact we actually have on pop culture and society. What's really scary is that more of us are reading, so we're starting to understand some of the laws that were put in place back when there was segregation. Look, when someone spills milk, someone's to blame. At the end of the day, we gotta clean it up, but we ain't gonna pretend like no one spilt some milk 300 years ago. If you want to be honest, there's one particular group that spilled more milk that slaves have had to clean up than any other. And in 2016, niggas is tired of cleaning up your fucking milk. Brush up.